17 newsmakers now, and yesterday, if you have children, you may have noticed more money in your bank account as the first round of child tax credits were deposited. So what will this mean for families, and is this something that could become permanent? Joining us now to talk more is Dave Anderson with Moneywise Wealth Management, here to talk about this. Dave, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Alex.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about the basics here. What is this? And, I think a lot of families probably woke up yesterday and saw this in their bank accounts. More is going to be coming throughout the next several weeks and months and so forth. What are the basics here? What is this?
Yeah, so essentially it is an enhanced child tax credit. and they're one of the difference this time is they've increased the amount that it is that you can qualify for, and they're paying it out in advance. So essentially, if you qualify within your income range, which it's $75,000 for a single person, up to $150,000 for a married couple, you can get some if you make more than that, but it's a little bit less. And what it pays you from July 15th to December is $300 a month for every child under the age of six and under, and then every child above 6 to the age of 17, $250 a month. So it is a fairly substantial credit that will continue to be paid out until December.
We've heard from lawmakers, we've heard from economists around the nation saying that this is going to lift millions out of poverty. Is that true, and is this something that is only going to be temporary, lifting them out of poverty for just a few weeks or months while they receive this money?
Yeah, it is temporary. They're talking about extending this. It absolutely is lifting millions out of poverty. And even though this is temporary, you can imagine the impact that this has on families when suddenly they have the money that they need to provide health care for their kids. That's one of the big reasons why we can't find workers, is you have parents who are still afraid about COVID. They don't have child care. And so something like this could lift them up to the point where now they could actually go out and get a job.
Let's talk about inflation. That's another one of the big things that a lot of people are talking about right now. There's a lot of concern surrounding the prices that continue to go up on everything, it seems like. I mean, we've been talking about things like coffee even going up. Now, there's obviously a lot of reasons why prices are going up, but it still points back to inflation. That's what a lot of people think at least is happening. Are we seeing inflation continue to rise, and is this something that we're going to have to deal with, do you think, for the foreseeable future at least?
Yeah. It's a good question. The big question is, how long is this going to last? We are seeing an increase in goods and services. In fact, the increase that came out year over year is the highest we've seen since the Great Recession. But there's one important thing to look at there, and that's breaking down what's going up in prices. While a lot of things are, really the biggest numbers are in cars, auto sales, used car sales, rentals, which are up in some places 87%. If you were to strip out used car sales, we wouldn't have record inflation. So that lends itself to the argument that this is temporary. If we have short-term inflation, we can deal with that. When it gets dangerous is when it continues. And so far, the Fed and experts are saying, hey, this will pass.
Well, hey, I mean, you're talking about inflation. Prices are going up, but just today, this morning, we learned that U.S. consumer spending rose 0.6% in June. A lot of economists were actually kind of surprised by this, saying that they were not expecting it to rise. But in fact, more people were spending money on things like electronics and other, discretionary spending. What does this mean when we're talking about, 0.6%, not a lot? But it does show people are spending money on other things.
Yeah, and it is interesting, as you said. It was kind of unexpected, and that's because incomes, some of the stimulus payments that have been sent out or being sent out, have finished. And so economists thought, well, we'll probably see consumer spending go down. That's not the case. I believe that points to pent-up demand. You have consumers out there that really cut back in 2020. They didn't get out there and travel. They didn't do those things. And now they want to do that. So I think a lot of that just points to pent-up demand.
All right, Dave Anderson with Moneywise Wealth Management. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maddie?